Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the interactive webinar of the AHRI Directory of Certified Product Performance. I am Emily Davis, a Product Manager at AHRI, and before I delve into the topic for today, I do want to let everyone know that we will have a Q&A period at the end of this presentation. My colleague Adana will be assisting with pulling out questions so I can answer them for you. In order to submit questions, please note the Q&A box on the right hand of your screen so you can go ahead and submit questions that way. So today I'm going to cover a general overview of what the AHRI directory is, including some of their search features, how the data is used, what our certificates cover, delve a little bit into our search tips, and then also cover our mobile app. I will do a live walkthrough of some of the search functions so that way we can get more comfortable with how to interact with the directory. So jumping right in, our AHRI Directory of Certified Product Performance is an online real-time database that hosts the trusted source for performance certified HVACR equipment. We work with regulators, consumers, engineers. We have a very vast user group for our search features. With the growing international market, we have also included a multilingual option to include Arabic, Chinese, French, Korean, and Spanish. So the directory has multiple search functions that can be used. The quickest and easiest one is what we refer to as the universal search function. So if you see in that top screenshot, the first red arrow in the far right, you'll see a search bar. And that allows the user to search either by model number or reference number across all of our certification programs, across all model statuses. So if a model number is had, this is going to be the easiest way to pull across our entire database. We also have the quick search feature, which is the screen that you're looking at now in the upper screenshot. And that is done by certification program. So for furnaces or boilers, air conditioning units, this allows the user to take a deeper dive into the search results. So you can search off of brand and model number, and even some of the most popular rating factors, so you can set a range. In taking a deeper dive, we also allow the user to search off of an advanced search feature. And what that's doing is allowing the user to search on any published values within a certification program. This tends to be more of a technical search feature, so engineers that are looking for a very specific model will use that search function. Discontinued and obsolete models are also able to be searched. They're through a little bit of a different channel. I'll go through that in the live demo. But if you see the drop down in that screenshot, there is a search function that will allow users to search for discontinued within 5 years or obsoleted models. Obsoleted models are those that have failed a test within the past 6 months. And they can also get a certificate from them through that search feature. We also work with EPA for Energy Star products and the CEE site in order to identify models that are Energy Star certified. That is another one that's available through our other resources search function. And then if more details are needed for all of our certification programs, that can be found on AHRI's main page, the URL ahrinet.org/certification. So how is our data used? A lot of, outside of the consumer, being a homeowner looking for a very specific model, we'll have installers and contractors, even rebaters, that want to pull information from our site to verify models. And the way our site is set up is based off of certain search criteria. The first 250 records can be downloaded into an export file. And also from the search page, if you see on the far left, our reference numbers are hyperlinked. and when clicking upon that hyperlink, it will download the certificate for the user. So our certificates are available for every certified combination that we've tested, and they contain their performance ratings as well as the current model status. Certificates are not available for models that have been obsoleted, and that's due to the fact that once AHRI has worked on their testing process, we've found that the models do not meet the ratings that they were specified. We will continue to publish them for 6 months after they are marked as obsolete, so the public is able to find them, but they are not AHRI certified due to that failed test. We also are able to provide discontinued certificates for up to 5 years when that model was discontinued. And that's just to allow the consumer to be able to access that. For example, if somebody buys a home and they have a unit in there that was installed prior to them purchasing the home, they're able to use AHRI's site to look that model up and get details. If it's not necessarily new, they can still find it in our system. Our certificates are used heavily by consumers when they're applying for rebates and tax credits. And because of that, we have a verify certificate function on our site. So if a contractor is installing a unit for a homeowner, or if a contractor has a stack of certificates that they're trying to submit to the manufacturer for a rebate, we want to be able to provide a service that certificate can then be verified. So there's 3 pieces of information that are located on our certificates that are needed in order for our system to confirm that is a valid certificate. And that would be the AHRI Certified reference number, which is unique to that specific model, the date on the certificate, which is very specific to the time that that certificate was generated, as well as the certificate number. So you could have an instance where one model would have 5 different certificate numbers and dates based on when that certificate was generated, but our system will still recognize it with the combination of those 3 data points that is in fact a valid certificate. Now, we have to keep in mind that the AHRI database houses almost 5 million records. So there are some helpful tips that we do want to provide to our end users that make the database a little more user-friendly in order to either get the match or pare down the matches if the search results turn 100+ results. So the main thing that is best practice to start with our searches is to enter as few characters in the model number field. And this is going to start by returning product families. It will get a baseline that can then be reduced. So if 5 model number characters are entered, and it returns 150 results, entering more model numbers characters that are located on the actual unit will start to pare down those search results to the very specific model that the user is looking for. And in our unitary small programs, or our air conditioners specifically, we advise not to start with the furnace model number. We always want to start with the bigger data set and then work down. And I'll go into more details of that later when I'm going through the live demo. It's much easier to explain when there's a visual to go along with those words. We also have search rules set up so we can use wildcards. And the reason we do this is a model in the directory can actually be representative of many models in the field. And so what we want to be able to do is we want the user that has a very specific model number be able to match to that model in the directory that isn't necessarily a character-to-character match in the search results. And as I mentioned earlier, we do allow discontinued certificates to be accessed. It is through additional resources on our site. You can see here through this screenshot how we flow through of searching the discontinued and obsolete products. You can choose residential or commercial. I'm using AC here because it's one of our largest programs. And then once the results page is obtained, the blue hyperlink of the reference number can be clicked in order to download the certificate. We also do have a mobile app that would be very user-friendly for in-field technicians or installers. The one thing I would like to caution users on is because of the limit of results that the mobile app can return, this should only be used if a very specific model is being searched for. So if a reference number is had or a combination of model numbers, the mobile app is going to be the best bet because it can only return 30 results. And so the risk there is if this is used as just a blanket search, there could be results that are outside of those 30 results that are matching, but the app is not returning. So if a very specific search is performed, the mobile app can then return the results. A certificate can be generated, and then it can also be either text saved to the phone or emailed. I would like to also note that our public side of the directory is responsive, so that can be used for broader searches in the field, either on a phone or a tablet. And then we do offer online support. So for those instances where model numbers cannot be found, or if someone is having site issues, we do have a user guide that's available under the FAQ section, or we do have a ticketing system under the request assistance budget up towards the upper right-hand corner of that screenshot. And that will submit a ticket to our analysts, and we aim to respond within a business day of requests so we can assist in finding models, addressing site issues, or providing certificates that can't be found. Okay, now the fun part. I am going to go ahead and switch over to our website. So for those of you that were familiar with the previous version of the directory, you'll see that this is a much cleaner version. The layout doesn't flood users with links or terminology, which can be overwhelming for any user. And then this area right here is what I was referencing when I was speaking of the universal search function. So you can search by reference number or model number. And here I'm going to start with the model number of this one right here. And so this one is returning with an exact one-to-one match. If I click select, then I'm going to see the ratings, and then the AHRI Certified reference number here is a hyperlink, which if I click, it will then download the certificate. Okay, let me jump back to my search results. And what I do want to demonstrate here is I mentioned earlier about entering less characters or using an asterisk. So if I take away the -12, I should be able to pull more models. Now, I purposely used this model number because it's not going to return hundreds and hundreds of results. But you will see that by taking away those last 3 characters, I now see 2 furnaces that will match this. And it's the same thing if I wanted to enter an asterisk for a wildcard. The system is still going to recognize either it needs to match those first characters, or once I enter the asterisk, it's telling the system to match anything that matches those characters and has characters following. And the same thing, and I will caution that we have to make sure that we choose the correct radio button if you're searching by model number or reference number. So I'm going to just go ahead and do the same search here, but searching off of a reference number. And what's really great about this search is you don't have to know the AHRI certified program of the model that you're searching for. Some of our heaviest used programs are very straightforward, air conditioners or heat pumps, furnaces, etc. But the end consumer specifically might not know the tie-in of the AHRI certified program to what they have in their house. And so here you'll see I was able to return the reference number. Again, if I click select, I can get the ratings, And then again, by clicking here, it'll download the certificate of product rating. Another positive about using this particular search function is it not only searches across all of our certification programs, it also pulls discontinued models if necessary. And this is helpful particularly in scenarios where the user is not sure if that model is still active, if it's been moved into production stopped, so it's not being produced but it's still being sold, or if the model has been discontinued. So for that example, we'll pull up this model, and we'll notice that it has been discontinued, but I still can select to see all of the ratings, and I would still be able to download a certificate of product ratings for this discontinued model. Now, just as a reminder, after this model has been discontinued for 5 years, it will no longer be published. So it's very specific that discontinued models within the past 5 years are published and certificates are able to be pulled for those. Now, users who want to either narrow down results from their universal search or search within a specific program can go to what we refer to as the quick search. So our search product database is going to house all of our programs broken out by residential or commercial. And this is where we'll be able to specify a little more fields for the user. So here I'm going to see all of the ratings that I can search for. And then here I can input information to narrow down the search results that I'm looking for. I can either set a range for performance, I can choose brands, or I can choose a model number. So let's just pull up here. Okay. And then we'll do okay. Now with this search, hitting enter will not work, so you just have to always remember either when you change anything in the search fields or you add more, you have to initiate the search by clicking search. So you'll see here that I've returned 50 results. So I've pulled basically everything under the product family that has this condenser or outdoor unit model number. Now, if I want to start to pare these results down, I can start entering more specific details into the model number character field. So now the system is looking at, of those 50 results, which one of those match the criteria that I've just pared down. And we'll see I'm down to 14. And so here it makes it a little more easier for the end user to digest and find the specific model that they're looking for. And then as I mentioned before, the advanced search is going to allow the user to search on any published field. This typically isn't needed for most of our user groups. However, we did want to provide the functionality if we had more of a technical user to be able to specify more of the fields that they wanted to pare down the results for. And this interface and this search criteria is going to look the same for our discontinued models. So if we want to access the discontinued and obsolete database, what we would do is choose residential, and I'll just continue with our air conditioners here. And then you'll see that I'm still able to pick out of all of the published fields what I would want to search on. And then if I were looking for very specific models that I wanted to find that were Energy Star qualified or CE qualified, I'd be able to access that site through the directory, and I could search for all of the programs that would fall under that scope. And a lot of the rebate companies will require certificates in order to provide those rebates, so the users can either access it from the directory, or we'll use this, come here, and then they can either search by their reference number or various other ratings that they could find models if they're looking for a specific model to install. Okay, so now what I was referencing to earlier about finding some models that would return multiple results and then trying to pare it down starting from the outdoor model number in. So let's start here, and we'll do okay, so this one is going to return 500 entries, and that's across 50 pages. So that's not efficient or even doable for many people. I know my eyes would start to cross if I was trying to compare 50 pages. And so then what we could do is we could either go to the discontinued search and then pare it down that way, or we could go to the quick search. And I am guessing that out of the model that I have, just basing on this first page, it's going to be easiest to start with the discontinued search. And if it doesn't show up in the discontinued search, I can go over to the quick search and see if it's either active or production stopped in that search feature. And if I still don't find it, I'm going to go ahead and submit a ticket and ask one of the technical analysts to help me. Okay, so if I go to the residential, and then I go to the air conditioner, what I will go ahead and do is enter that same model number. Excuse me. Except this time I'm also going to pull in my indoor unit model number. So I've gone and located that for this particular model, and I'll input it here. And then I'm going to click search. So I originally had 500 models, and I'm hoping that based on the discontinued, okay, so it looks like it's not coming up. So I'm going to go up here to my show search field. And I'm going to make sure that I've entered this correctly. 17436. And so what I'm going to do is just take a few characters away. So again, we're saying if a match doesn't happen, just pull a few characters back. And so what then I would do is I would jump over to the quick search and then try it again. So this particular model I did want to show as not showing up in either searches, so then I would request assistance through here. I could enter my email, and then I would enter the model number that I was entering, and then the outdoor model number, and then I would be able to submit, and I would get assistance through a technical analyst. What I do want to show in particular is being able to pare down. We'll jump back to our original example of our AHRI. So again, we have 50 plus entries to go through. but then entering again that 2. And you'll see here how the asterisks are used by manufacturers, and that's to indicate the user could have an RN-06-2-A-CA. So in order to be able to pare it down, the user would just replace their characters with an asterisk. Okay, and at this point, I will circle back to Adana, and then we can pick up some of the questions that have come in.
Thank you, Emily. We welcome any questions that anyone on the line has at this time. Okay, Emily, I have one for you. Why is there a cap on search results?
That is a fantastic question. And the reason, and I do want to clarify just a hair on that. So there is no cap on search results. So what I mean when I say that is when you are on screen, I'm going to jump back to the sharing just because I'm a very visual person and it helps me explain. So there's no cap to results. So this number right here, we will display as many matches that match your search criteria on the screen itself. What we do cap is the export search results. And the reason we cap that at 250 models is because the fact that we have a data subscription program where users will enter agreement with AHRI and they have unlimited access for a fee to particular programs that they subscribe to.
Okay, great. Do you have a tutorial for the app?
The app, I do not have a tutorial. It is located in the public user guide. So if we come here, we have our public user guide that's available for download, and there are screenshots that label it step by step with how to access and go through a search on the mobile app. And then as always, if anyone has any issues, that request assistance button on the directory is going to get a ticket into our system, and we do have a team that is on that distro that can promptly reply to issues.
Okay.
So this user guide will go through step by step with screenshots.
And does the app work in the same way as the directory?
In theory, yes. So it's still being able to search by program with a model number or reference number. The big caveat is the app will only pull 30. And that's just how the app was built. It's not any kind of data restriction. It's a mobile application build. So I would stress that our public directory is responsive and will work on mobile phones and tablets as well. So if you need a broader search function, that will work for you in the field.
Okay. Are there tutorials available for using the directory?
Yes, we do have a training page. Let me pull that up for you. So if you go to ahrinet.org under certification, next gen, and then training. So I'm pulling this up so everyone can see the URL here in my header. So it's ahrinet.org/certification/nextgen-directory/training. Some of the training videos that we do have are specific to manufacturers, but we do have a training video on our universal search, which was covered, our quick search, our advanced search, discontinued and obsolete, and then the subscriber feature as well, if anyone is interested in getting access to that.
Okay, great. And what if there are questions about using the directory or finding data for a particular product?
Please do not hesitate to submit a ticket to our team. This request assistance button will get you in touch with one of our analysts. And like I said, we do strive to answer tickets within 1 business day. Sometimes we are able to answer much quicker, but we do strive to answer within that time window. And so this button covers anything. You can't find a model. You're having site issues. You just need general help and guidance on how to use the feature.
All right. And do you have any insight about how many types of products AHRI certifies?
We have about 43 certification programs, and that is broken out into, we go here, again, ahrinet.org. On that same program page that I just showed with training, you can see all of our programs that we certify. And it totals out to about 43 programs. Across those programs, we have about 5 million models.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again, Emily. It looks like those are all of the questions for today. Just a reminder that the webinar was recorded and will be made available on AHRI's YouTube channel within the next few days. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for your time. I much appreciate it.